primarily about PAX or PAX weekend. I was able to make it to PAX this year, like I do every year, and for the first time ever in who knows how many years, I was actually finally able to play D&D at PAX. It's something that they run games with I guess professional DMs uh every year, all year, and I've always wanted to play. I always wanted to get into a game with a bunch of random people and see how it went and see how other people play because I've primarily only ever played D&D with like the same like group of 5 or 6 people. There's one friend, Drew, over at OneQuest that I've literally played every game of D&D. I've almost every game I've played of D&D in, besides maybe like one group. He has been in almost every D&D campaign I've ever been in. So it was it was nice to actually get a chance to, play D&D with some random people. Hold on, I'm going to move around a bit so that my hands are in the camera. Um so I finally got to do it. Usually the problem was over at PAX registration, you would have to be there first thing in the morning, 9 o'clock in the morning, get down to the D&D room and register in person. And I am bad at waking up. I don't even wake up on time for my day job that pays me. So I can't wake up early enough to go sign up for D&D, especially if the session I'm signing up for is like at 8 o'clock in the morning or 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock or whatever. So I always had a problem with like being able to actually get down there, check it out, and maybe register. This year though, they changed it up and you actually register on the app now, which actually really, really, really made it easier for me. So I was able to get up first thing, 8 in the morning, check the app, sign up to play, and then I could go. I wasn't waitlisted or anything. I was just able to get there. So the session was at 10 o'clock. It was a 4 hour session. And I played on Saturday the 27th or Saturday the 7th of December. This game was to celebrate the 50th anniversary of D&D, and I played with a bunch of random people, a DM. I apologize if you are watching this and you played D&D with me. I apologize. I don't remember anybody's name. I'm so 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 sorry. I really am. But it was a really good time. So the premise of the session itself was a module that they have created that uh, Wizards of the Coast has created for the 50th anniversary, which is the Scions of Elemental Evil. It is a free to download module on D&D Beyond. All you have to do is create an account and you can download this module. And the basic gist of it is that Queen Yolandi of the town of Selene has hired your troop to investigate a group of elemental cultists that she suspects is going to cause some sort of cataclysm going on in the world. That's just the basicness, the basicness. Um, every character is a level 4 character, or that's about the level that's the level they had us at, so it's about the level that you should be. Maybe it could be 3. It might be a little too easy at 5, so like we were at 4 and it was good. There was a decent amount of um action economy and everything across it. And we played using the one D&D rule set, which I'm still a little hesitant on. But I'm actually like I'll get I guess I'll get into it. I don't know. I know 5e by heart. So I don't really want to learn something new, and 1D&D has a lot of new stuff. It's really like 5.5, but it's kind of turning into just 6th edition. I don't know, it's really weird. My thoughts on 1D&D are just like I don't need it. And it sounds like what they're trying to do with 1D&D, and this isn't going to be a 1D&D commentary here. I could get into that maybe in a future video or something, but it sounds like to me for 1D&D, they are just trying to turn D&D itself into an online game by doing constant updates. But I already have $1 million of books, and now you guys want me to start getting new books that don't replace my books, but do replace my books. It's just, I don't know. Doesn't make sense. I don't like it. The cool thing about the pre-made characters, though, that you can play in the Scions of Elemental Evil, are all of the characters are based off of the early 80s, early to mid 80s Dungeons and Dragons cartoon. So it comes with a cast of, I believe it was 5 characters. I'm actually scrolling down now to get to it. I thought I had this set up properly, but obviously I never really properly. So it's 7 characters: Bobby the Barbarian, Diana the Monk, Eric the Fighter, Hank the Ranger, Nico the Cleric, Presto the Wizard, and Sheila the Rogue. And they all have their own different magical items that are relevant to how they were in the D&D cartoon back in the 80s. A cartoon I never watched because it ended 3 years before I was born. I didn't even know it really existed until a couple years ago, and I've never really thought to go look into that. Maybe I'll watch it sometime and talk to you guys about it. But it was really cool. I'm probably showing you the art already for it, the art for the characters. Um, and they were a lot of fun characters. I ended up playing as Diana the monk, or in the cartoon, she's known as Diana the acrobat because they didn't have monks at that time. This was like back just after. This is like second edition, where they didn't have monks and they didn't have rogues. They had thieves and they had acrobats, but it's not so early where an elf was a class. Um, so I was playing as Diana and doing the 5e rules. They actually had me set, or not this 5e, the 1 D&D rules. They actually had me set as the way of the warrior of the hand. Unless that's a 5e playset, I don't really remember, but I was the warrior of the hand and I got to like basically boost every attack with flurry of blows. Um and that kind of made the end game a little too easy. I was very useful in the end game if I could get my ability to work, and our DM was kind of rolling a little bad sometimes because when you get your flurry of blows, you can add either addle, push, or topple to each hit. So addle will make it so that they can't make opportunity attacks. Push will make it so that if they fail on a strength check, they get pushed away 15 feet. And topple will make it where if they fail a dexterity check, they get knocked prone. So that's just, I don't know if Stunning Strike is in this edition or is in this playset, but if you can topple and or stun, that's double chances to try to give advantage. Because if you're knocked prone, you get advantage. If you're stunned, you get advantage. Like it makes it a little too easy in my opinion. The other classes I didn't really get into or read up on. I would say that I wish they gave us a little bit better instruction on some of the abilities, but since it was 1 D&D and not 5e, there are some new ability sets and how spells work. I don't know. There was a little conversation between us about Hunter's Mark. I don't know who was right or wrong on that one. I know Hunter's Mark as you can only change it as a bonus action if the enemy dies, but the person who was using it was like, no, you could always change it as a bonus action. No, but I don't know. I don't know if they changed that in 1 D&D or if that was like a fourth or third edition uh mechanic where like you could change it, but then fifth edition they made it to where it was only when they die and you had to recast it if you wanted to change it afterwards. So like they didn't really give a lot of good explanation. They also in my character sheet they didn't give a breakdown of my the saving throw that the character needed to make. Generally it's 8 plus proficiency plus your modifier, but they didn't write that down on the sheet, and I wish they would have given me that because there was a little bit of fluffing around for that. But besides that, I had a lot of fun playing this character. I've always wanted to play a monk, and I did have a monk once who basically was the way his backstory went. He was trained by Mr. Miyagi, um, and he learned how to. He was a way of the. He was the healing monk, the one that like can heal using his ki. And the way I did it was he would like rub his hands together and like shock the person with his hands, like trained by Mr. Miyagi and stuff. I think that was always like a really cool, fun feature. But I've never really got to stick with the monk. I even made a monk with a friend of mine when we started playing Baldur's Gate. We didn't get to stick with that playthrough. I think they still have the save, so I'll have to try it sometime. But we'll see. Monks are fun. Monks can get a lot of attacks in, and like I ended up being pretty clutch during the end sequence. So the game went pretty quickly and pretty easily. We all like melded very well. We all connected to connected with what each other needed or wanted, and we ended up getting once we got to the home of the the cultists, we attacked one of the guards. We took their cloaks. We pretended to be new cultists. We were able to get past the guard statue, and then we split the party into three groups because there's three different elemental cultist groups in this temple, and we split into each of them to try to learn information. And the three cultist groups, they are led by um, three different like leaders, or heads of each um, elemental group. So it's fire, ice, and I believe poison or acid. Yeah, fire, ice, and acid. And there's Cinderhide, Order of the Falling Ash. There's Garth's Drool, Children of the Suffering Ooze. Kara Blaine, Children of the Splintered Ice. And then the leader, uh, the Soldier Vox, who she's going to bring. Cataclysm is nigh. Cataclysm is soon. That was a really fun thing. Is like it was a running joke. None of the leaders could tell us when the cataclysm was going to happen. They could just say soon. So we just constantly, oh yeah, I hear it soon. I hear it soon. It was a really fun thing. But like there, we go to meet each character and learn things from each character, and we learned that one of the I believe it was Cinderhide is really into revenge. Garth's Drool is actually has like the hots for Cara Blaine, and Cara Blaine just doesn't really care, and she's just like, I don't fuck with any of this. I'm just waiting for Vox to come back. Um, and we ended up working together to actually devise some sort of love triangle plan to convince Garth's Drool to confess his love to Cara Blaine while we talked to Cinderhide, um, and told him that like they were conspiring against him to kill him, and we got like some infighting to happen within the group, so that we were able to then, once we found the location of the portal, which was right next to where Cara Blaine's section was, we were able to actually like sneak in there and lock them away from coming with us. So they had their own little combat fight. So we actually were able to pass through an entire combat scenario fighting all of the heads of the group, which I think also made our final battle sequence a little bit easier, but it was still super fun. It was super fun. I'm gonna share an image of the map. Thanks to it's on D&D Beyond, so I'm just gonna share a quick image of it, and I'll put it down below that this is from D&D Beyond. Hopefully they don't get mad at me for sharing that image. Um, and then once we got to the final location, we went through the portal. We encountered Vox, who is the para elemental queen, and she was working on a ritual that was going to bring the elemental planes out onto the prime material world. We get there, and she's like, "Oh, I gotta stop you guys. You're causing issues in my plan." And she summons four elemental beings. It was a ooze, a fire, an ice, and I can't remember the fourth one. Let's see. Does it say on here somewhere? Let's see. It's an ash, an ooze, an ice, and a magma elemental. So there were basically two fire elementals, an acid elemental, and a cold elemental. And she herself could change into an elemental, I believe. Yeah, she turns herself into a fire elemental. And so it's just this room with like four portals. We start at the back. She's halfway into the room, and you gotta fight her, and you gotta fight four elementals, and there's a group of like six of you or whatever it was. The whole battle mechanic was really cool because if you killed the elementals, they would just respawn in their portals. So what you needed to actually do is knock the elementals back into their portals. If you were able to get them into their portals would then shut, and there would be less to deal with. And so that's what my main job was. Being the monk, I could punch things and push them back 15 feet if they failed a check. And so I, first round, ran up to the Ash Elemental, I believe it was, knocked it back into its portal, turned around, and went toward the next Elemental, the Ice Elemental. The rest of the team kept having to jump back and forth. We had one person that was able to like teleport people all over the place using their ranger abilities. Unfortunately, they weren't able to do a lot of DPS, but they were able to like position people properly so that we weren't taking too much damage. We weren't bunched up, and we had our barbarian just being a barbarian fighting the big bad. It was a really cool battle mechanic. Unfortunately, it's also really easy to deal with if you are rolling well. If you just take out the main villain, if you take out the main villain, it all ends. And then, now that's the way it worked with us, but we were also limited to a 4-ish hour play session. So we were near the end of the 4 hours once we finished that up. So I don't really know if that's like, I'd have to read more on it on D&D Beyond to see if that's actually how it's supposed to finalize. If you defeat her, everything ends. Or if, like, maybe you're also supposed to push every enemy back into their portals. I don't really remember. But it kind of felt at one point like, is it really worth it fighting everything else? If you have a ranger, a monk, and a barbarian, and a magician, and a wizard, all just, and a rogue, all surrounding this fire elemental and just taking them down bit by bit by bit, you can end the turn in like 2 rounds. But I was happy that we actually played the part and actually like worked on, like, yeah, we're not just gonna face roll it into the final boss. We're gonna mess around. But it was really cool. It was a really fun experience to actually be able to play D&D with new people, play D&D with people I've never played with before. There was a little bit of butting heads about rules, but like I kept anytime, like, because I'm a forever DM. Anytime I was like, rule check, I was like, DM, rule check on this. I know you're the main. I would always be like, DM, is that right? You're the DM, so you make the call. But is that right? If somebody else made a rule that I was like questioning, somebody else was like, oh, this is how this works. I'm like, I don't know if that's actually how it works. That's not what I know. But it's also, like I said, we were playing 1 D&D, and I'm used to 5e. Well, yeah, so it was an absolute great time. I love the fact that we did that whole love triangle scenario and we're able to just bypass that whole battle sequence. And it was just, I was absolutely ecstatic with it. So if you were any of the people that played D&D with me at PAX, if you remember playing D&D with me at PAX, please leave a comment down below. If you weren't someone who played D&D with me but have played this module, also leave a comment down below. Or if you want to hear more about this module, leave a comment down below. I'm going to link the module from D&D Beyond in the description so you guys can check it out. I'll try to share some of the maps and everything if I can. If hopefully I don't get in trouble with copyright issues or anything like that, to like show you. Maybe I don't actually might not do that. I'll figure that out. But I'm gonna share images of like the maps, the pictures I took. I didn't take a lot of pictures, didn't take a lot of video because I was still a little self-conscious about like videoing people that might not want to be on video or taking too long a video or too much video. But I'm getting there. I'm getting there. But it was an absolute blast. I plan on doing D&D next year. I plan on making sure that my Saturday is free all day so that I can play D&D, maybe multiple sessions. We'll see. There was apparently a big like 20-person session that happened that was a lot of fun. I wish I could have maybe tried to get into it. I don't know. But yeah, that's about it. I just wanted to share this experience of playing D&D at PAX with you guys. That is it for my PAX 2024 content. I don't have any more content coming out from PAX 2024. So what you'll be seeing on vlogs next, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But thank you guys so much for this PAX journey over the past couple of weeks. If you like what you saw, please do me a huge favor. Hit the like button so the algorithm knows that people like you will like me too. Subscribe to the channel and ring that bell so you get updates and notifications when I go live and post new videos. And leave comments down below about D&D, your feelings on 1D&D, if you've played this module, what you think about it, what you don't like about it, the fact that they brought in the 80s characters, the 80s cartoon characters into this, and does that excite you? Is that something great? Is that something like, you don't really care? All that stuff. I'll respond to all comments back. Be sure to check me out on twitch.tv/me_walnuts and here on YouTube Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, where I live stream video games and everything else. And check out my other videos that I do Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday every week. Thank you guys so much. Please do me a huge favor. Be careful, be safe, don't do anything wrong. Always hug your loved ones. And of course, like always, be sure to miss your socks. See you all next time.